Hello, everyone. My name is Frank Andrade, Senior Manager for Studio Signature Artists for both Los Angeles and New York. Super excited to be with you guys today. And today I'll be walking you guys through a few cutting techniques, particularly working with dry curly hair to create a curtain fringe and a nice solid face frame. I'll be showing you guys some amazing techniques as well as some great product usage. So for all your product needs, please check out wellastore.com. So for the sectioning for this cut, it's very simple. We actually start with a fringe section. So take the regular fringe section here. The next section will actually be the top of the head. So we'll go from about halfway through that fringe section, all the way just across the top of the parietal ridge, incorporating just the top of the crown, and then right back around again. On the sides, we'll take out a nice crescent type section right here. This will be the part that's going to really accentuate the face, and then we will just clip all the rest of it away for safekeeping for a little bit later. This section is actually very versatile. Today I'll be showing you guys a curtain fringe with a face frame and long layers, but I'll also show you a way that you could adapt that for a shorter haircut as well. One of the most important parts about cutting on dry hair is actually the prep of the hair. So especially with curly hair, you want to make sure that you're putting moisture back into the hair and really taking care of that cuticle so that you could get a nice even cut on it. She was actually prepped with whipped cream and dark oil. That's just going to supply that moisture and just give it a nice slip on the hair for when we go in and start dry cutting. So I'll be starting this haircut in the fringe section. So this is the section that I showed you guys just a second ago. And I'll actually be starting right in the dead center. And I'll take a section maybe about 1 inch into the hairline. And it'll start with like a little bit of a triangular section. So if you could see that right there, this is actually where I'll be starting. And I'm going to go in and put in my shortest point of the haircut that I want to see will be actually right here, just about the bridge of the nose. So I'm starting with a skimming technique, and it'll be right in the front section of the fringe. So with the skimming technique, you want to make sure that your blade is laying pretty flat to the hair. You don't want to come in at a sharp angle. You actually want to be pretty flat to the hair. The benefit of cutting with curly hair is that you see that bend. So we're going to come in and start right where that bend is. And I'll rock the blade going from side to side just to give it a nice soft effect. I'll then take the next section, just about 1 inch wide section. I'm bringing the sections of the hair straight out, using again that skimming technique, going from short to long here. Watching that bend of the hair. Again, watching that bend in the hair. And for this last section, and I'm bringing it straight down. I'm making sure not to over direct it too far in either direction. Watching the angle of my blade that supports the angle of my cutting section. And we'll repeat the same technique on the opposite side going in the opposite direction. So now that the length has been established in the fringe, I'll actually be taking the longest point of the fringe and using that as a guide for the shortest layer on top. I have sectioned out the top of the head again. So going from the fringe, incorporating into the crown and right back around. I'll be taking a profile section through the center, using this as the shortest point as a guide for the fringe. So taking a profile section right at the top of the head, I am letting the fringe drop out, using that as my guide, and I am lightly back cutting. I am over directing the hair from here to here to create a nice increase in length. Take my next section and continue that all the way back. Letting that length drop out and using that as my guide. I will continue on both sides until the whole top section is complete, bringing everything into that middle section. That establishes the shortest layer, and we'll be using this to connect the length for your longer layers. I will continue that same technique repeated on the other side, bringing everything to the center. For the next section of the cut, I will actually be working on the face frame. So this is going back to that crescent section that I showed you guys in the beginning, from the corner of the fringe to the top of the ear. And for sometimes there's density issues and you could take the whole section. Otherwise, I would recommend cutting it in half. And for this, you could either start your guide from the corner of the fringe or just a little bit below, just depending on the preference of the client. And that'll be worked all the way down to the lengths. So I'm going just a little bit below, and I'll work in a glide cutting technique. So I will be lightly opening and closing my shears as I work down to the length. I'll take the next section and incorporate that right there, just so I could see my guide. Working all the way to the lengths of the hair. And that's what's going to give you that nice little kick and face frame right around the face. For the next part, which is the layering, I will be working everything above the ear forward and then moving straight out around the head as I work, taking this top section as my guide to the perimeter. Once you've completed the back cutting technique for your layering, you'll want to go in and even out the perimeter. So for that, I'm just going in and lightly glide cutting along the perimeter to take off any extra length. So for finishing with curly hair, I actually like to activate a little bit of volume at the root. So for that, I'll be taking a little bit of craft clay, working it in my hands to get it nice and soft, and then going in and activate the root area. For the ends, I'll give it a little bit of definition and shine with dark oil. And then, of course, a little bit of finishing with zero gravity. So today we worked with cutting on dry curly hair. Within the fringe section, we started using a soft skimming technique with a razor. After that, we established the layering length on top, taking the guide from the fringe, working with a back cutting technique to create the length on top for the layer. From there, we did a glide cutting technique with scissors for the face frame, and then connected the layering to the perimeter utilizing a back cutting technique. Utilizing the same sectioning and the same cutting techniques, you could actually create this shorter curly haired look as well. The big modifications that you'll do is you will take a shorter fringe, and for the top profile section where you're establishing the layer, instead of going from short to long, you'll actually come across in a square layer fashion, utilizing the same technique. And then for the sides, you will actually come out and do a little bit more of a square layering technique as well, utilizing the same cutting set techniques that you did in the previous one. It was amazing spending some time with you guys today. Again, my name is Frank Andrade, Senior Manager for Studio Signature Artists for Los Angeles and New York. We went over some amazing dry cutting techniques for curly hair today. If you're interested in more cutting techniques, please check out our list of our seminars at wellaed.com. And of course, if you're interested in any of the amazing products that we featured today, please check out wellastore.com.